Today, I'm gonna talk about the most four common misunderstanding about personal and small business tax. The very first misunderstanding is if I don't declare it, no one will know. Well, honey, it's not true because ever when you do the business or any trade, it leaves the mark, it leaves a footprint on digital platforms or basically in everywhere. You just think they don't know. But the tax department have cooperate with other department to follow and manage all the data was shareable between the departments. So they could take your information from the banks, from invoice, digital platforms like social medias or Google's, well, if they really have to. And therefore, you can be invisible under the tax department eyes unless you belong to the case where you don't have to pay for the tax. So remember to notice and understand your case before you do anything and stop thinking that if you don't say or tell the tax department, you don't have to pay for the tax. That's a so wrong opinion. The next misunderstanding is small income doesn't matter. Well, in most case, you may think small income from the business, for example, is the case you don't have to pay for tax. It's only true if your annual revenue is from $500 million a year. It was, yeah, annual revenues. So if you belong to that condition, of course you don't have to pay for any tax. But if you are above that annual revenue stays, you have to pay for the tax. Oh, there's a note. This state only apply for the household business. If you're a company, well, you do have to pay for tax, even if you under $5 million a year. Okay. And there's something if you are just an ordinary people and you don't have any business is running through under your eyes. Wow. They still call personal income from the salaries and the minimum of the wages that don't have to pay for tax is $5 million per month if you sign a contract with long-term working. But if just a part-time, they just take your 10% before they give your money. So you don't have to think about this. Okay? Next, money in equals taxable income. Well, this simply is you think all the money out or all the money in would count as revenue or would count as allowed expense. Well, in most cases, all the money in is count as revenues, but the allowed expense is come with certain conditions. There are three certain conditions that you have to meet to be allowed expand when you count the profit. The first, it must be relevant to the business. The second condition is there have to be legal and adequate invoice or other like papers to show it with legal transactions. And the third, as the final condition, is that you have to bank transfer if the expense is more than $5 million. So if you don't bank, if the money was more than $5 million, that doesn't count as allowed expense. The fourth and as the final misunderstanding is only businesses pay tax. Oh, this is so wrong. And I said, even an ordinary people like you or like me, we do have to pay for tax. But maybe we don't aware because you are not directly paid for the tax. So, for example, when you pay the purchase, you do have to pay for value added tax. Your salaries, for example, the company will take the tax before they pay for you. If you belong to the case, you have to pay for tax. And that were four most common misunderstanding about tax you need to know. Thank you for watching. Okay, where is this?